Hey, this is episode 177 of the Twim Show. This episode is going to cover the news and updates from the week of September 4 through 8, 2023. September 4 was Labor Day, so this was a short week, not a whole lot of updates. So this is hopefully going to be a short episode as well. First up, an update on Google's August 2023 core update. This was covered about 2 weeks ago in the episode 175, where I shared Google is rolling out a core update, and the core update completed on September 7th. That's how I know it, because Google sent out a tweet on X, the platform previously known as Twitter. Again, this is core update. Google does core update every now and then. This was probably the third one this year. And they are focused on, this core update focused on website content and helpful contents. If you're affected, Google suggests that you go through your search console and figure out what content of yours got de-indexed, what such queries it was showing up for previously and what it doesn't show up for right now, and kind of do that gap analysis and then figure things out. I know it's not very helpful, but again, Google is not going to come and tell you here's why, because if you do that, the bad actors are going to, spammers and scammers are going to go ahead and game the system as it is. They do that, which is why Google has to constantly keep their algorithms up to date, right? It's a never-ending journey. Hope this helps. Actually, the next update that I'm going to go over, it's going to help a little bit more, not a whole lot, which is, a Twitter user or X user, Mary Haynes, asked Google's Dan Sullivan. Again, Dan Sullivan is the Google search liaison for Google search on Twitter, asked, hey, you have recently updated your documentation around helpful content system that is designed to identify and demote low quality content from search results. Mary wanted to know was, can I get more clarity on this? When you ask us to remove when Google is telling us to remove unhelpful content, are you telling us to remove parts of the pages that contain large amounts of unhelpful content, remove the entire page that offer little original value, or both, or what should we do? Give us some more guidance, right? And I felt like it was a question that she's asking. However, it didn't hold a lot of weight, and I think this is a question that I would probably be able to answer by myself, or maybe because it's easy for me because it's not my content, but nevertheless, I feel like it's easy. So here's why. But before I say here's why I say that, I want to read back to you what Danny replied with on X. He said, people should self-assess their content to understand if they believe it will be helpful to visitors. Keep content on pages or entire pages or whatever they believe is helpful. Get rid of things that aren't if they are looking critically at them as a visitor. And that is exactly what I'm going to say. I mean, I know Danny didn't really was being very spot on and say, yeah, remove this. Because, there are billions of websites, billions of users. He cannot have one answer and then one size fits all. And what he's saying, and what I also say, is it depends. Who wrote the content? Does it make any sense? Is it of any value? Is it a duplicate content? Has it been scraped from somewhere else? And based on that, you decide, right? And oftentimes, if I am the author of a content, it is very hard for me to put on a third person's hat and see if it's helpful or not. This is where you should be working with a trusted third party who can review your content and give you feedback. That is, if you are the user who wrote it, or if you're the writer, content writer. Okay, so coming back, and I know this update is very closely related or tied to the last update, which is the August 2023 core update. However, this is important, right? It is important because Going forward, we're going to see more and more of this helpful content update until something new comes up, which I doubt it, because Google is focused on delivering quality results. Like, ask yourself, would you continue to go search on Google if the answer you get back from Google is unreliable, full of spammy links, right? Simple as that. I go to Google because I know I can go to Google and find answers just like that. Now, I've done same searches on Bing, and I've tried sometimes using Bing first, and I've been like thoroughly, how would I say? I've been very unimpressed with the results, and I didn't get my questions answered. Then I was like, and after 30 seconds or a minute or two, I was like, you know what? Let me hop over to Google and find the answer, because I know every time I search, I find the direct answer within the first 3 or 4 links. That's all. Okay. Now moving on. This is about Google Sites. I know most people listening to this are not using Google Sites. However, sometimes if you are thinking of Google Sites, then this is something for you. Just you should know about Google Sites is a free website builder that allows users to create and publish websites without coding knowledge. It's a drag and drop builder. It's usually the websites on Google Sites. The URL of the site on Google Sites starts with sites.google.com/whatever. And yes, you can pay a fee and you can actually make it, your domain, and you can change the name. Now, having said that, John Mueller is saying, look, technically you can actually have your site on sites.google.com or whatever domain you choose. However, it's not the right choice when it comes to SEO, right? Here's what John wrote, and this was in response to a query from a user that says, hey, John, I have my website on sites.google.com, and it doesn't seem to be it's indexed or ranked. So what he says, John, to that is, taking a step back, websites created on Google Sites can and do get indexed in Google search. However, the URL used in Google Sites are hard to track since the public version can differ from the URL you see when logged in. To be blunt, while it's technically indexable, it is not ideal for SEO purposes and can be complex for tracking in Search Console. If SEO is a primary consideration, exploring other options and checking the pros and cons before committing might be worthwhile. For performance tracking in the Search Console, you could also use your domain name for the Google Sites content. Using your domain name makes it easier to migrate, should you choose, and allows you to verify ownership of the whole domain for Search Console. Right. So, and by the way, Google search sites or Google Sites are popular with link spammers who creates links on Google subdomains in a tactic called Google stacking. The idea behind Google stacking is the spammers generate a page of links on Google Sheets, Google Docs, etc., and then interlink them all from a Google Sites. Google stacking is based on the mistaken belief that there is authority and trust in Google subdomain that is transferred over the spammer sites through links. Of course, that's wishful thinking. There is no such thing used by Google called trust or authority that gets transferred from one site to another through links. Okay, now you know everything about Google Sites. Obviously, you shouldn't use it for, if you're SEO focused and you know about Google stacking, stay away from it. And it doesn't have to be Google stacking. If anything, if someone comes to you and says, you know what, I'm going to get you backlinks and things like that, and this way you would be, I will get you to number 1, I would probably stay away from that person. That's all. Okay, with that, let's jump to the last update of this week. The best way to do paid guest posting, according to Google. Now, guest posting, whether paid or unpaid, it's been actually an old tactic. Right, in 2014, which is about 9 years ago, Google's Matt Cutts wrote a blog post telling SEO practitioners to stop it, pause it. Anyway, back then, there used to be penalties for guest blogging platforms. Now, this user is asking John Mueller, hey, most websites only offer the option to purchase a guest post to gain a backlink from them nowadays. Is this against Google's guidelines if I'm writing valuable content? John answers, it sounds like you're already on the right track. Yes, using guest posts for links is against our spam policies. In particular, it's important that these links are qualified in a way that signals that they don't affect search results. You can do this with rel equals to no follow or rel equals to sponsored attributes on links. This has been covered in a couple of episodes in the way back, I think last year. I just don't remember when it is, but if you've been following the show, you know I've covered this in depth. I just don't know the episode number on top of my head. So continuing on, Mueller also said, it's fine to use advertising to promote your site, but the links should be blocked as mentioned. So what that means, folks, is that paid guest post with links are advertisements as far as Google is concerned. Failure to label advertisements is not only a misleading to readers, but they may also violate laws that prohibit misleading advertisements, aka Federal Trade Commission. So if you are doing paid guest blogging on your platform or on another platform, just make sure it's rel equals to no follow or rel equals to sponsored attribute is set, and you should be good. You don't have to worry about anything else, because you know what? Say, for example, if my content is getting shown on fortune.com or cnn.com or fox.com, I am still getting featured over there. People over there are reading my content. They know I'm an authority or I have some knowledge about a certain topic. I don't necessarily need to have rel equals to no follow, rel equals to sponsored. Now, most platforms these days will use the rel equals to no follow, and that's fine. At a minimum, that's fine, but you ideally should seek out platforms where it's rel equals to sponsored, or if you have a blogging platform or guest posting platform, just make sure you put rel equals to sponsored and you should be good to go. Okay? Alrighty, folks, that's it for this week. This is your host, Sajid, signing off. Until next week. Take care. Bye-bye.